Okay, this is going to be an introduction to some new tools for PeopleSoft. The theme is a new kind of label we're giving this line of products, UX&H, which is kind of a symbol for user experience enhancements, UX&H, and for PeopleSoft productivity. And so we're going to be rolling out some user experience enhancements, and we'd like to demonstrate a couple of them here. So this is my PeopleSoft. The first one we want to focus on, the first enhancement we want to focus on relates to grids. And so I'm going to go to a page in Campus Solutions. This will work, in any PeopleSoft, HCM, finance, and is not reliant on any particular tools version. You'll see the UX icon wherever this feature is enabled. And there are some configurations and controls as well over where this feature can be deployed. You can choose certain components to turn it off or to turn it on. But basically, this enhancement is focused on grids. We know that grids in PeopleSoft are very, very commonly the point of intensive data entry. So you have grids like this one I'm showing you here that has many, many columns of data. Here's another grid here, many columns of data. Here's one on this tab here. You can see many, many columns of data. So we know in finance and HCM and some places in Campus Solutions, there are intensive data entry experiences with grids like these. These grids can be very hard to work with as delivered. Like if I just start over on this page and just start with a blank case, let's take a look at one. So if I'm just going to go and try to enter some data into this grid, I'm going to insert a row here. And you know how time consuming this can be and intensely manual. So we have arts and so on and so on. And so what we did with this enhancement is to try to focus on grids and provide some streamlined experience here. So the first one is going to be how to rapidly enter data into a grid. So again, I'm going to go back out and start with a blank case here. I think I have one like this. Right, so here's that grid that's empty. Now, let's say I have some data in a spreadsheet, and I have one here that I've been working with. So I have this data in a spreadsheet. I'm just going to copy this data. And when I click on this icon in the grid, it's opening out a new window here with a JavaScript grid. So I'm just going to paste that is modeled on the PeopleSoft grid, same columns. And so I'm just going to paste my data from Excel into my JavaScript table. Now I can do a lot of stuff here. Obviously, I can edit this here, and I can add rows. It's like an Excel, Microsoft Excel experience here. But I'm just going to show you that I'm just going to rapidly then paste my data. So I can click Push PeopleSoft and then go back to my page. And you can see here that the 12 rows from my JavaScript grid pasted into my PeopleSoft grid. And so this is, like I said, this is all dynamically configured. There's controls over which you can control which grids this will appear in. And then it's completely dynamic, right? When you click this icon, there's no mapping you need to do. We're reading the grid dynamically and creating this JavaScript experience. So let's take a look at another example of this. Oh, and by the way, we have any fields like this that are translates or drop downs. We have the valid values here, so you can review. Realize when you're entering data, you may not know. We showed how you can copy paste from an Excel spreadsheet into a grid. Let's show just the manual entry experience. So just go ahead and pick somebody who's got some existing data in a grid. And let's say we want to take this grid and add, there's existing rows. It's like 20 existing rows in this grid. Let's say we want to add, 5, 8 additional rows, and we want to be able to just rapidly do that. So we're gonna pop this grid out. So here's my 20 rows. So I can just enter additional rows here. Let's say I just want to copy this row and just rapidly, propagate that and make a couple of changes. This will be 120. This will be, algebra. Say I need to quickly fix some things, right? These are all 1 unit. Some of these are 1 unit, right? Let's just check my other fields. Let's say these data numbers are all 1, depending on so this drag and drop function, I can rapidly do some cleanup here. Okay, so with that, I've created, 5 additional rows. So let's go ahead and push that back to PeopleSoft. You can see here my data got pushed back. There's my 5 additional rows and my data numbers. So everything, all the changes I made in the grid got pushed back. Let's look at some additional features of the grid. So there's also the computational ability. So let's say we have some numerical column here. We want to rapidly do a sum of that column. So let's see what column that is. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So we're going to do equals, we're going to do like in Microsoft Excel, we can do sum H1 to H 25. And so we get a sum here of that column. And just, as an Excel, we can insert a column here and do additional calculations. So let's say we want to do column H1 times, or let's say divided by 2. So we can just take that, just like in Excel, we can rapidly add calculations here. And then we can, for analytic purposes, we can also dump the contents of this table out to what we call a pivot table. And so it's just taking the contents of that grid, and here's the custom column that I created. But so we can do calculations here. So yeah, there I have some stuff. So let's take school subject, put it here across the top, and we're going to do total sum of units taken. So we have sum of units taken by school subject area. Then we can do a heat map to view high and low values there. Then we can dump this to bar chart. This is my grand total here, and then here's the totals by subject. We can double click on the chart and change the kind of chart that it is. Should be able to get a pie chart. And so you can see this is my total, but these are the different totals by subject area. And so we can analyze the data in our grid rapidly. Now, let's go ahead and close this and move to a different feature of the UX enhancement. We want to go to the query viewer. So I'm going to open a query viewer, and just go out to, so you'll see the UX icon here as well. And so what we've done with Query Viewer is you can run any query and dump it out to a pivot table. So this is my GPA units query. Query will execute with the prompts, and then you can see the data is available to me. I've got drill down capability. I can export this to Excel. Then I've got the same capabilities of charts and bar charts, line charts, same capability that I had with my table enhancement. So we can do calculations here again. So we want to see the sum of GPA, right, by career. So this runs for any query in Query Viewer from any query. And so that's the other UX enhancement that we're offering. This will be a theme, and we're going to hoping to, get user feedback and continue to roll out other PeopleSoft enhancements for the user experience.